Wonderful, wonderful. All right, here we go, family. Thank you once again for tuning in to Grown Folks Talking, Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. And once again, I'd just like to make the claim that the music that you heard, Brother Al Jarreau, and then a Frankie Lyman with Goody Goody. Y'all remember that from Why Do Fools Fall in Love movie soundtrack. I'd just like to say this, that is not for any economic gain or any type of economic gain or economic, let's just say, putting money in our pockets, all right? We don't do that here. It's just for the listening pleasure of the Grown Folks Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network listeners, for their pleasure, their earful pleasure. So I don't want to hold the sister up, but I'm going to tell you right now, first of all, family, please put your phones on mute, okay, so we don't have any distractions, because everything that this sister says is going to be very prominent, very educating. So here we go. Hold on for 1 second. Okay, family, so I'd just like to say right now I'm going to bring on Sister D. Terrell. I'm going to put myself on mute. And Sister D. Terrell, welcome to Grown Folks Talking Network. Sister, nobody can give a bio better than you, so go right ahead and give your bio, Sister D. Terrell. And I'm going to, hey, listen, family, y'all don't make no noise. The sister's very powerful, very impactful. Go right ahead, sister. I'm listening.
Thank you. First of all, Forrest, I definitely want to give you your props, and thank you so much for having me on your Grown Folks Talk show. I really, really appreciate you, and I just want your audience, even though you're all on mute, I want you to give Mr. Forrest Nance an amazing, rollicking round of applause, because he saw fit to just bring someone to his audience that he knows is going to help you to be happier, to be healthier, and more successful, even if it's just 1% in your life than you are today. So first, Paris, let me just give you a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And just to introduce myself really quick, I am a native Newarker, born and raised in Newark, and happy and proud of it, because it was one of the places where I birthed my business, Pitter Patter Feet. That was my first entrepreneurial endeavor. And basically what that was, it started out as a dance studio, a mobile dance studio, where I taught children from infancy up to school age, basically 12 years old, and the after-school programs, summer camps, and things like that. So I started that back in 1993, right there in Newark, going to local daycares in the area. And as I pursued that, that wasn't the first thing that I wanted to do to help my people. As I said, I grew up in Newark, and I was raised by my mother and grandmother. And one of the things that my grandmother really instilled in me are two really prominent things: education, making sure you got education, and also giving back and helping others. And I think also being the oldest in my family, you're just instilled to always look out for your brothers and sisters, look out for those that are younger than you, and just always being willing to lend a helping hand, because you never know when you're going to be able to have be on the receiving end of a helping hand. So always be the first to help and give. And so I think that that has always just informed my life of being able to just help others and have fun. One last thing about me is that I'm 51% analytical, logical, results-oriented, and science-based and back, as well as 49% fun-loving, creative, energetic, and just wanted to have a lot of fun as I'm getting my results. I don't believe that having fun as you get your results is something that can be done. And I think that when you do that, it makes life more fun and more interesting. And so what I'm going to do in this short 30 minutes is talk to you about two prominent areas of your body, which are the belly and the brain. The belly and the brain. And I'm going to sprinkle some different tools and techniques that you can use that are going to help you to be able to deal with stress, because that is one of the biggest factors that affects your belly, both your belly and your brain. But before I go into that, I just want to thank you, the audience, too, for just taking the time out of your schedule to just come and just listen to what I have to say. And being a Newark native as well, there is no place that I would just want to be able to give back to my people. I feel like I've come full circle in being able to give back to you. And so the first thing I want to talk to you about is a lot of people don't think about the correlation between their bellies and their brains as far as the psychological aspects of it. They think about a lot of times, and just from what I know of Forrest, I know he's really into health and wellness and anything that's going to be on the leading and cutting edge that's going to make your life better and more wonderful. And so I'm pretty sure that you guys know about the gut and the brain and what happens in your gut as far as your microbiome affects how your brain operates. And so I know he's into health and eating a good diet, a plant-based diet, getting hydration, all of those things. But a lot of things that people don't think about is that the bigger your waistline gets, the smaller your brain gets. And one other thing that people are not aware of is that not all fat is the same. So the fat around your belly is primarily, now this is not totally, because some of it could be due to diet, some of it could be due to gastrointestinal or things that are happening with your gut. It could be a number of other things. But one big factor about your belly fat is your level of stress. And what happens is when we get really stressed out, we secrete in our bodies this chemical called cortisol. And cortisol has gotten a bad rap. It's not like it's a bad thing, because anytime you cut yourself or have an injury, that cortisol helps your body to heal. But when it gets really out of control, as it does in the way of stress, it creates a lot of belly fat. And what also happens is that not only do you have this problem with belly fat, but it also affects your ability to be able to sleep. And so we have this vicious cycle where we're not getting enough rest, which is causing us to have cortisol running throughout our body, creating additional belly fat. And at the same time, that because of maybe even poor diet or because of this stress, we're not able to get the proper amount of sleep. And so if we can begin to start dialing back our stress, in addition to eating healthfully, making sure we move our body, making sure we get proper hydration for your body. And what I mean by hydration is not just about putting liquids in your body. Not only do you want to make sure that you have good, clean water in your body, you also want to get your hydration from nature's water, like in fruits and vegetables, as well as nuts and seeds. And one of the most potent seeds for hydration is the chia seed, and that's spelled C-H-I-A. And one of the beautiful things about chia seeds is that they are very versatile. You can sprinkle them over your cereal or your oatmeal or over salads, you can put them in smoothies. You can make a chia pudding, which is you can put, if you're not into dairy, you can use like either any kind of nut milk and let the chia seeds soak in that nut milk until it turns into like a gelish type of thing. And then you can add blueberries, bananas, fruits, whatever your heart's desire, so that you can have a delicious, healthy snack that's going to really hydrate your body. Because what happens with chia seeds, they can hold like about 10 times their weight in water. And so that's why when you consume them, and they, go into your body, and then you drink water, and then you have your other good liquids like your smoothies and your fruits and vegetables, that's going to expand the amount of hydration that you have in your body. So one of the other things is that, like I just said, it's not just about diet alone. It's not just about your gut health, but it's also about taking the time to know how things work as far as your brain and how stress is affecting your brain. So one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you can use a tool that costs no money at all and that you can use anytime. You don't have to carry it in your pocket or your wallet or your purse. You have it with you all of the time, and that is your breath. And so what I would like to do with you now is have you go through what's called the box breath. And that is breathing in for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you blow out, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you hold it again for 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do that for about a minute so that you can experience the difference in your body. Ready? Let's begin. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 2, 3, 4. So we're going to pause there. And now you can take a big inhale and exhale at your own pace. And with any breathing technique, you want to go according to your body. So if 4 was too much, you can do it for 3, as long as it's 3 equal inhales, 3 equal holding, 3 equal exhale, and 3 equal holding again. That's why it's considered a box breath. So hopefully you notice the difference in your body. And this particular breath pattern is a pattern that's used by the Navy SEALs to be able to calm down their bodies quickly. So if you use this particular breath pattern, this is something that can calm your body down quickly. And I recommend doing this type of breath anytime you get stressful, like if you're waiting in traffic, or if you feel like you're getting impatient or you're about to lose it. If you remember to breathe and take control of your breath, you're going to be doing tremendous things for your brain, because one of the things that you're going to be doing is communicating to your subconscious mind that you are in control, not the situation. And what you do with your physiology, or said another way, what you do with your body influences your psychology, or it influences your mind, your perspective, how you see things, how you view things, and how you think. And so when you can begin to do things with your body, like your breath, to be able to have you to calm down, what's also happening in your body is that this is helping your brain, because when you do most types of breath patterns, and especially when you're taking those slow, deep breaths, what's happening in your body is you're activating one of the longest nerves in your body called the vagus nerve. And you want to have what's called vagal toning, because this increases your ability to deal with stress while at the same time minimizing the stress that you're going through. So if you can imagine both of your hands out and your palms are facing down, because what happens when you're stressed, that means that the demand, and you're going to just raise your right hand raise your left hand above your right hand. That means the demand with the situation is causing for more than what you're capable of giving or dealing with. So that gap that's in between your hands, that's what's creating this stress. But if you can take your left hand, which was that demand of that stress demand, and start to bring it down by using your breath, so you're bringing down the stressful situation. And then also what that is doing, because you're doing your vagal toning or you're activating your vagus nerve, what that is doing is increasing your capacity to deal with stress. Now, if you're doing this activity with me, your right hand should be higher than your left hand. And then that space in the middle is that breathing room, that abundance, that fuel to be able to deal with any type of stressful situation that will come your way so that you don't get bent out of shape. Because what happens is when you become stressful or agitated or angry or fearful, any of those type of emotions, you set off a part of your brain called the amygdala. If you take the palm of your hand and you put it back on the back of your head, that is where that part of the brain is located. And what happens is when that part of the brain is activated or stimulated, they call this an amygdala hijack. And what that does is it puts the part, now if you take your other hand and you put that over your forehead, that is the brain called your prefrontal cortex. And that part of the brain is where you have your decision-making, your what they call executive functioning, higher thinking. You're able to reason and rationalize. And the old folks back in the day called that your right mind, like you're in your right mind. Like you ever hear them say, he wasn't or she wasn't in her right mind. Well, they're telling the truth because they were back in the amygdala part of the brain instead of being in the prefrontal cortex part of the brain. So what you want to do is when you can do activities that calm it down, when you can do activities that the brain loves, which are humor, novelty, and novelty is anything that's like, ooh, that's interesting, that's new, that's different, as well as when you can do things that causes the brain to be engaged or intrigued by something. The brain loves those type of things, and then what you're doing is you're creating what is called more neural connections. I was going to say neurosynapses, but basically it's the same thing. You're causing more connections in your brain, which causes your brain to be able to grow. So I'm going to stop for a second and find out if I need to repeat anything, or is everyone following along, or if there are any questions at all before I continue.
Mic check, Sister Terrell. All right.
Yes.
This is me, dear. All right, so what we want to do from this point on, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you for that presentation. Like I said, nobody can give a bio like the guests I bring on. Like I said, when we go on the Billionaires, Sister Karen always gives a bio. But when you do a bio sometimes, somebody might say, ooh, when they listen to somebody else give a bio of themselves, then they might miss what you might say, oh, wow, I should have put that in my bio. So you did wonderful, sister. I want to thank you. And also, now, real quick, I want to turn to the listening audience and family. You know what we do now. We don't step over each other. If there's any questions or comments for Sister D. Terrell, then please, by all means, let's ask. Step up to the podium, family. Come on.
Hello, this is Deborah. How are you?
Hey, are you?
I'm fine. That was an excellent presentation.
Great.
I was wondering when you said you were servicing different daycares in the area, where were you when I had my daycare in 99, the Boys Love and Touch?
Oh, where were you located?
On Renner Avenue in Newark. Down by Avenue School.
Oh, wow. You know what? I started back in 93, so I was still doing daycare during that time. I was at Kids Will Always Be Special, Christian Pentecostal, Dove Community, Dove Academy, Kelly's Kids. Most of those are, except for Kelly's Kids because that was in Montclair, but most of those are in Newark. First Daycare Academy, Newark Fed Kids. So I was basically in the Newark Babyland. I know back in the day, I don't even know if Babyland still exists anymore, but yeah, a number of schools. They still have Babyland. That's great. Okay. Yeah, they still have a number of schools. I mean, I was at a number of schools.
Well, I like what you said about making things fun, because that seems to be the issue with the youth, getting them drawn into a lot of things. It's like such a serious intro and so stern that we have a problem getting our youth involved. And when you come in with dance, and you come in with fun, and you come in with education, that's three really realistic components that will cause the children to come in to engage in what it is that you're presenting to them. And so I just wanted to say that I have an opportunity through the organization that we formulated through Grown Folk Talking Network. We have Organization of Unity and Empowerment. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're trying to bridge the gap between the older and the younger. We're doing different things that we can with the youth, educational-wise, and other things. And one of the other things we're working on is conflict resolution with our children. So we're trying to get them to a safe place, a secure, and get them to excel and come out. So we're having an event on September the 30th, which Forrest is going to attend, to my knowledge, from 10 to 4 in Newark at 151 Broadway, which is a church down there. But if you can attend, we have opportunities to go in school system and to do workshops and things of that nature. And I have been put in place with the school principal and parent liaison to help with some workshops. So I think what you're offering would be great for our organization and great for our community. So if I can get with you at another time, I would love to talk to you about the opportunity that we can help to make Newark even better than what it is. And that's what the goal is. I wasn't born in Newark, but from the age of 5, I was raised in Newark. And today just happens to be my 57th birthday, so I'm celebrating.
Happy birthday! Yay, Deborah! Happy birthday!
Thank you. And I would just love to talk with you. And if possible, if you can be to attend on the 30th, which is next Saturday, we're giving out school supplies, and we're doing some history and education and presenting our organization and the talents of our people that are on board with our organization, as well as having Forrest to come out and speak, because he has been a center, a starting point for this organization, and we just want to acknowledge and give thanks to him. So we're going to be out there, and if you're able to come, it would be beautiful. And if not, I would just love to be in contact with you so we can see how we can move forward with Newark, helping our youth and our community.
Yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea. I have to check my calendar, which I don't have on me right now, but thank you so much for the invitation, because I do feel like that's I love how you're thinking about bridging the gap, because a lot of times people don't think about bridging the gap. And I also think that It's helpful. One of the things I think is beautiful about dance is that it gives them an opportunity to express themselves. It's an excellent tool. When I first got into dance, I'm a classically trained dancer in tap, ballet, jazz, hip-hop, African, like 6 different dance disciplines. And I just really wanted to just share my love of dance because it was just so freeing for me to be able to do it. And I didn't actually start dancing until I was 24. I didn't take it as a young child. And so I felt like if I can share this love with others, that it would be helpful. And after getting into it, I found out that it's an excellent way to have both sides of the brain be working at the same time. They call that brain synchronization. And so it's an excellent way to help children with, and even adults, with learning quicker and faster and easier, building a better brain, and they're able to have like self-control, self-regulation, especially when you get them when they're like really young. It's an excellent learning tool as well as far as self-expression is concerned. So I want to applaud you for just being able to be a part of this organization and have that insight that is a great tool to help Newark be a lot better.
Yes, and that's thank you so much. Our theme for that day is a touch of life building a better future. And so we have a bunch of kids that love to dance. And I wish I would have gotten in touch with you a lot quicker because I would love to have a segment. We have a segment for our kids and still have a little slot, but we want to have some engaging parts with our children. And that's what happens. I've had youth to reach out and say that when they're attending different things, there's nothing for them to do. And I just want to acknowledge that one of the things also that Forrest does on this network is trying to bridge the gap with the youth and give them a voice and a say-so. So he's putting some things in place, and we have some more things that we're doing and starting, and even some youth that are interesting in coming on podcasts and bridging gaps, even some that I'll talk to today that I still have to talk with Forrest about later. But definitely the dance, the exercise, the engagement was awesome, and I just wish that was something that we could have put in place for the 30th because I wanted them to have something upbeat and engaging as we talk with them about more serious things, about the importance of being educated, voting, planning, and visions and goals. I wanted to have something. We also have someone that's talking to them about music and lyrics and what they're taking and to see if they're acknowledging. But this would have been also another beautiful component. But I want to just say thank you, and I definitely want to talk with you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah, and happy birthday, too.
Thank you. I'm waiting for Forrest to sing happy birthday.
All right. Well, I'm going to sing it on your show tomorrow night, Sister Deborah. But happy birthday to you, sis. I'm going to sing happy birthday to you. But listen, Sister Deborah, and she has a show called Sudden Impact, by the way, Sister D. Terrell, and she does the. Oh, Sister Deborah, tell her real fast about your show before you go, real quick.
Yes, I have a segment on Sunday starting at 7 p.m. that's called Positive Impact, and definitely it's suddenly an impact. But it's Positive Impact starting at 7, which is a gospel segment, and what happens is our callers call in. They make their selections, and we play their songs, and we give them an opportunity to speak and encourage others. And people are encouraged by what they're saying and by the music, so we interact with each other and we do what we need to do to make sure that we're good for that another week until we come back again.
That is so wonderful. I was just reading about how encouragement and cheering someone on, how those are the most powerful things that you can do for a person as well as do for yourself. And so I want to acknowledge you for that, too, because that is so wonderful. It gives people a voice. It helps them. It's excellent psychologically because it makes people feel seen and feel heard and feel acknowledged. And those are the 3 basic emotions that every person, no matter who they are, no matter what status they are in life, Everyone wants to feel that they're seen, that they're heard, and that they are acknowledged for who they are and what they bring to the table, and that they don't have to do anything but be their wonderful selves. So that's wonderful, Deborah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mommy. You did amazing. You did so good.
Thank you, Mayana.
Yes, you are a master educator. And I just realized that it's been 30 years now. This is your 30th year anniversary of Pitter Patter Feet since 1993, and it's just so amazing to see how you give such complex information in such simple and practical ways, and make it interactive and fun. It doesn't even feel like it's been 30 minutes, and so I just wanted to give you your flowers and say that you did a great job and have really inspired me in the ways that I, give talks and, share information. I feel like you just made it just so much. This is a really complex topic. You just made it so simple and so practical and so interactive. Even though we're on the phone, we're still moving and being active. I think that's amazing, how you can still make us do that. And it's interesting because the last time that I was actually on the show last year, I also talked about the gut brain too, but it was completely different, and so it was interesting seeing the similarities and the differences. And I just wanted to give a special shout out to Mr. Forrest Nance and to thank him for having this platform where we could have a meeting of the minds and just share this information in unique ways. So thank you, Mr. Forrest. Thank you, Mommy.
Oh, Mayana. Oh, that just makes my heart just melt. Just to hear, hi, Mommy. Oh, my goodness. Thank you. And the gut-brain connection really, really is important. And so, a lot of people, especially over the age of 50, they start thinking about Alzheimer's, and they think that they don't have to worry about that until 60. But actually, you have to start taking care of your brain health, just like your body, from teenage years, from the time you have life, breath. You have to always be taking care of your body, not just be thinking about, I want to avoid Alzheimer's or some type of cognitive decline. So let me start doing all these things and changing my lifestyle over the age of 50. The sooner that you can do it, the better. And there is a great big relationship between your gut and your brain. So that's actually they feel you actually have three brains, basically, quote unquote, in your body. It's the brain in your head, the brain in your heart, and the brain in your gut. And a lot of times people say, I got a gut feeling about that. That part of your body is taking in, receiving, and taking in information as well. So thank you, Jan. I'm glad you found it hopeful. But I didn't even finish doing the whole thing. I wanted to stop because I knew I was using some technical terms, and I just wanted to give people a breath and just take in what I was just saying and have any questions, because if we can do things that are going to take care of our brain and our belly, then we're taking care of our whole body. We're taking care of our mind, body, and spirit and emotions. So thank you.
All right. Is that the lovely daughter that I had on my show a while back? Hey.
Yes.
Peace and blessings, sister. Listen, I'm going to reach out to you for next year, because before you know it, it's going to be next year here, sis. And you are, and listen, you've been missed, so we got to bring you back when you get a chance. Check your schedule, and I will be giving you a call, sis. And I got to get some more Rishi elixir from you. I used it all up, so now it's time for a refill. So I will be in contact with you, my dear sister.
Oh, Steph, that sounds great. Thank you for thinking about me. I know it's been a while. I definitely had a lot on my plate, but definitely looking forward to coming back. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to hear your voice. You sound strong, sis. Like Curtis Mayfield is saying, keep on pushing. That's what I'm talking about. Your mama was more familiar with that. And for YouTube, you got an old soul. You listen to some of that old school music that's still good, still has relevance. Okay, now, family, by the way, before I bring on my next, because I do have someone here that wants to talk to you quick, Sister D. Terrell. I know someone that had a problem. They were getting many strokes, I heard, in their brain. Mm-hmm. What would you say they should do when they're reaching that? Because I know that one protocol for that, I know if you do the unrefined organic coconut oil, take a spoonful or two each day, that helps with the brain. But what would you recommend, Sister D. Terrell?
First of all, that is excellent for the brain because a lot of people don't think about that the brain needs fat. And so coconut oil is a great fat for your brain. But especially when you're having strokes, that has to do, it could be high blood pressure. It definitely is stress-related. It could be inflammation-related, and that's when it could be toxins. There are a number of things, but if she or he starts making lifestyle changes, the first thing is start by finding whatever way they can to start diminishing their stress. The box breath was just one form of breathing. Another form of breathing is called the straw breath, and that's when you inhale and then you exhale through pursed lips like you're blowing through a straw. And as you do that, your exhale is going to be longer than your inhale, and that's going to help to calm your brain down because anything that you can do that's going to calm down your nervous system and calm down your brain is going to help your body to function better. So then the next area I would tackle after stress, and these stress types of things, this has to become a lifestyle. So when you get up in the morning, I know for myself when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is just thank God. I thank God for the day. I pray. I go into silence. And then I do my movement activities. And when I say movement activities, I study Qigong instead of martial arts. I do fitness for, I have a membership site, Deep Jelly Belly, which is online. And so I do all the things for my body to prepare for my day so that, and it's like filling up your tank to get ready for the day. If you're going on a long trip, you make sure that your vehicle is clean, is washed, and that is filled up, that the gas tank is filled up so that you can go on the trip and drive as long as you need to drive until you're able to fill up again or you have to fill up again. So we get to do the same thing by preparing our day. And these are acts of self-love. These are acts of, taking care of ourselves and taking care of our body temple because we only have one body temple. So if we can do things to do the lifestyle changes and, like I said, minimizing stress, actually there are 5 things that you need to do with your body. One of those is strengthening your body. And I know you're asking about the strokes, and I'm hoping to answer a lot of questions at one time, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to explain this. Because these 5 things that you're going to do for your body are going to not just be for your body, but they're going to be for your body, your mind, your spirit, emotions, all the parts of you, because we're one holistic being, not just different parts. So the first thing you want to do is you want to strengthen your body because not only do you want to look good and burn fat, but you also want to fight off this phenomenon called sarcopenia. And what that is when your muscles shrink, so they get smaller and you get weaker because you start losing muscle mass. So you want to make sure that you do some type of strengthening or some type of resistance activity at least 3 or 4 times a week so that you can, especially if you're over the age of 50, because by the time you've reached the age of 60, you have lost 20 pounds of muscle. It starts in your 30s where you lose a half a pound, and then once you reach to 50, it starts a pound a year that you're losing. So, and a lot of people, they sometimes mistake, oh, I can stand to lose 20 pounds, but you don't want to lose 20 pounds of muscle. You want to lose 20 pounds of fat because this affects your muscles. Your brain is a muscle, your heart, your lungs, not just the muscles that you use to move your arms and legs, but you got to think about all the muscles in your body. The second thing that you want to do is make sure that you stretch your body. When you stretch and reach up, especially if you just, reach up over your head, try to touch your toes, or just go wherever your body goes and just breathe deeply and relax there. What you're doing is you're getting tension out of your body. You're moving the lymph fluids in your body so that you're going to be a lot healthier, because the lymph is something in your body that's not going to be able to move unless you move. And that's like your body's sanitation system to help clean you out. So you want to make sure that you stretch, and this is going to help you to relieve tension, and it just feels delicious. The third thing you want to do is just make sure that you move your body, and you move in the way that's going to be the most joyful and beneficial for you. So it's not jogging, it's not doing a particular sport. If you feel better with walking or swimming or doing some type of slow movement like Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga or any of those type of things, do it, but just make sure you move every day. And movement doesn't have to be exercise. If you just stand up and sit down, do that 3 or 4 times, that is a form of movement, and your body is going to be happy and appreciate that. The fourth thing you want to do is soothe your body. Because we're under a lot of stress from cell towers, a lot of different things, environmental toxins, all of these different things in the modern lifestyle, and lack of sleep, all of these things, we need to be able to soothe our body, because we can soothe our nervous system. And you definitely want to make sure that you strengthen up what's called your parasympathetic system, which is different. The sympathetic system is the fight, flight, or freeze system of your body, but the parasympathetic is the calming, soothing, rest, and digest part of your system. So you want to make sure that you do that, because that's going to help to minimize your stress. The fifth thing you want to do is make sure that you fuel your body with, of course, healthy foods. So it's what you eat, what you drink, and how you sleep. But also fueling is also, what do you put your attention on? What do you put your focus on? What are you listening? What are you watching? What's coming through your eye gates and your ear gates? What are the things that you're picking up with your 5 senses? Because you want to make sure that you're living from your core values, because that's what helps to give our life meaning. Everyone wants to have meaning and fulfillment. So if you don't know what your core values are, they are the things that you're like, you know what, this is non-negotiable. I have to have this in my life. I have to feel like mine are freedom, fun, creative expression, beauty, and contribution or appreciation. And what I mean by that is any place or any people that I come in contact, I want to leave them better or have them appreciate and value than when I first met them. So that's why contribution is really important to me. So if you do these 5 things for your body, and especially living from your core values, that's going to be something that fuels your soul and fuels your spirit, as well as you being able to understand that you're not here alone by yourself, that you have, I call him my Heavenly Father, and the legion of angels that are here to help you so that you can have the support that you need, and that you're being divinely guided and not just trying to do everything on your own or by yourself. So if they can incorporate, moving back full circle to your question, if they can begin to do, because it's not one pill or one set thing, if they can begin to have a healthier lifestyle with first starting to manage their stress, they're going to be able to, and of course I know that hopefully they are seeing medical attention. Are they seeing someone for that?
Well, last time I heard, they did go see a doctor. But down the road, I'll let you know how the person makes out. And they have someone in their family that's pretty well into health, so they're trying to work with them. But that'll be a future report next time I bring you back, Sister D. Terrell. But you know what, hey, Sister D, I got some, D. Terrell, I have someone here I would like to ask you a question or make a comment, and she does yoga instructor. Here we go, right here.
Hello, my name is Ariel. Hi. I love what you said about like the brain, like teaching us about the brain and like breathing. I studied psychology and I did a yoga teacher training too, so I'm actually getting back into teaching yoga very soon. But I've worked in education, and my grandmother owns daycare centers as well. But I was wondering, when you work with daycare centers, did you work with like just the children, or do you work with the children and the staff?
I did two things. I was hired as a consultant, so I would develop a curriculum, and it was basically a brain-based curriculum using dance. Because the reason why I taught primarily, actually solely in, let me just back up. I started out teaching in a traditional dance studio. And then, but one of the things that conflicted with my value as far as family, because in a traditional dance studio, you're working in the evenings, like say from 4 to 10, and that's when my family would be home. And so I had to flip it and say, okay, I need to go into child care centers and teach during that time, because then my husband and my daughter would be either away at school or work, and then we could all come back in the evening and be together as a family. So they hired me as a consultant. So I created the curriculum and implemented the curriculum. And then in 2008, I became a certified by the state of New Jersey as an early childhood, what do you call it? Content specialist in the area of music and movement and about the brain and all of those type of things. So I would do workshops for like the Urban League and different child care and resource and referral centers, teaching the teachers and the parents. So I would do those three populations to answer your question.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I don't know if Forrest has your contact information, but I definitely do want to contact you.
All right. Thank you. And he does.
Thank you.
And I apologize. Did you say your name was Brielle?
Ariel.
Ariel. Okay.
Yes, and I heard your daughter's a herbalist too, so I wanted to get in contact with her.
Yes, she's a certified herbalist. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, there you go. That was Sister Ariel. And if wonderful daughter, number one daughter, is on the phone, maybe she can give out her contact information for Ariel, because she wants to do she wants to take a course in herbology, become an herbalist. She's already yoga, so herbalists go hand in hand with other things. All right, so family listening in, does anyone have a comment or questions? We have our DJ resident. I'm sure he might want to make a comment or ask a question. Our Professor Williams of Africana Studies, or anybody else. Please step right up to the podium, because some of you guys, you talk on mute. I've done that a few times by mistake. Excuse me. Take yourself off mute, and if you have any questions for Sister D. Terrell, all right, or comments, you can ask. Or make a comment. Anyone?
Forrest.
Brother Rashad, go right ahead, my brother.
Thank you. I want to thank Sister D. Terrell. A beautiful presentation. I like what you said about the gut-brain connection, which is so true. And especially about the deep breathing, which is very important. These things we should all have ourselves doing every day, just to keep ourselves balanced and all. But that deep breathing and meditation go together, and it helps bring your blood pressure down.
Yes, it does.
And people always call me, what can I do for blood pressure? I tell them, the number one thing you got to do is meditation. Meditation will bring your pressure down more than anything with the deep breathing.
Will.
It works much better than, the herbs. Yeah, the herbs help and all, but you still have to meditate. You got to de-stress, things of that nature. But I love your presentation. I believe I heard you last year, too, when you were on.
I wasn't on last year, though.
Was it last year? When was it? You were on one time.
Oh, you know what? I was, but I was on with my daughter, yes. I was just listening to her. I wasn't.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, so good job. Keep up the good work, and hopefully you'll be at our health fair that we plan on having next year for us trying to put it together here in Newark. And so we definitely want to invite you to be one of the speakers, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
And tell me your name again, Rashid, did you say?
Rashad Elohim.
Oh, Rashad. Rashad Elohim.
Okay.
Thank you, Rashad. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome, my dear. Okay.
Well, Sister D. Terrell, just to let you know, Brother Rashad, he's been plant-based for 40 years. All right, and he's going to give a little presentation after you leave. Mm-hmm. And also next summer, I'm going to have a Grown Folks Talking Network and Health Forum, and we're looking at the Abyssinian Baptist Church in Newark because they have a nice bank down there. So I'll give you a way advance notice. We're looking at either July or August of next year. So we would very much be in debt of gratitude for your presence. So, like I said, I'll be in contact, let you know way in advance that we can put on your calendar if you and the husband are going to still be in town. Because I know as I get a little older, being 66 years of age, but feeling every bit 36, thanks with the help of your daughter, Rishi Elixir, and my plant-based diet now. And I got some catching up to do with Brother Rashad because he's done 40. I've only done 11, but I started 11 years ago, and that's a start, you know. And I feel great, you know, staying away from the processed stuff and eating naturally and just feeling good. And I try to share it with all of the listeners of the grown folks because a lot of people are not going to change their diet. They say when a person tries to change their diet, it's like asking them, they'd rather change their religion before they change their diet. They want to just stay stuck on tape. And it's not about that. Sometimes you just have to take what I call the bitter with the good sweets, you know, the natural occurring sweets like the bananas and the oranges and the apples, you know. So it took me a while. It took me a while to get there, but I'm there now, sis, and I'm just so grateful, you know.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Now, with the listeners, family, all right, are there any people, like I said, I know our Africana studies, by the way, I just want to share with you, Sister D. Terrell, Brother Sanford Williams, all right, he was a Africana studies teacher from 68 to 86 at Weequahic High School. And when I went to Weequahic in sophomore year, he had Africana Studies 1 and 2, and I took that in Weequahic, and it helped raise the level of my consciousness in school. And and he looked me up, and now the brother has a program on my network every Friday at 8 p.m. That's why, Mr. Williams, you got to peek your head up from that 33.5 album over there on the turntable and tell this sister about your show, all right? Because we need to hear from you for a hot minute. So mic check, Mr. Williams, come on in and say hello to Sister D. Terrell and let her know about your show, and also let her know about the brother coming on October the 6th, because her and her husband might want to tune in, and her lovely daughter. Mr. Williams, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here for us, Nance.
All right.
As always.
Sister D. Terrell, brother, Professor Sanford Williams.
Yes,
hello.
D. Terrell and family and all. And just like to say we thank you for coming. And
welcome.
The whole notion of lifestyle change is critical. And whether you're vegan or whether you're vegetarian or whatever you might be, it's always critically important that you deal with the things like the meditation, things such as your diet, things such as your breathing, and particularly diet. Because when our people eat preserved foods, cans, boxes, and so on and so forth, those things have so many preservatives and so much sodium in them that they'll kill you dead. When we are befallen, when we are knocked down by things like these pandemics that we don't talk about, they they will destroy you if you have pre-existing conditions, and we have so many pre-existing conditions because of the food we eat and the diet we follow. But brain food is good for you, and keeping your brain tuned up is great. I taught Africana Studies at Week Lake High School for about 18 years. It was actually the premier program in the country. It was a 2-year program, a holistic program. Actually, in 2023, from the time we was enslaved till now, they've never had a program like it in America in a public school. I'm trying to get the nation to look at it. So I'm starting in my hometown, born and raised at Visual Hospital in 1945. Black women could only have their babies in the basement then, you see. And nevertheless, I went to Cleveland Junior High, West Kenny Junior High, Southside, now Shabazz, ultimately Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. Came back to Newark in the midst of the rebellion. And the year after that, I began teaching at Week Lake High School, where they had never had a black person teaching history ever. And they only had 2 black people in the whole city out of 8 high schools. People walked out, and they had a rebellion. The students walked out saying, we want more teachers in Newark. Little did they know that in the area of history, they only had maybe 4 ever since 1909. They didn't know that much. So I had a big job on my hands coming in. But people were not aware, though I knew American studies quite well. They didn't know I had Africana studies in my head, far more profound than the American studies. So I just put that into effect and made the program. And that's what helped make Forrest who he is. And I'm so proud of that. But on Fridays, I have a program entitled Combating Systemic Racism Through Education. So that's taking care of the mind, keeping that mind working and doing. Getting education will help you overcome anything, essentially, except ill health. You have ill health when you're deteriorating, well, education won't help you. But otherwise, it's powerful. And this on the 6th of October, we have Molefi Kita Asante. He is, right now, the premier Africana educator in the world today. He actually has written over 100 books, and he is one of the 3 remaining members of the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations, and he's got a profound program. Well, he's going to be coming more than once, but he has developed more PhDs in Africana studies, over more than 100, than anybody on earth. So this channel, this station, is really moving right on up. And there's a woman called Dara Sar Tucker. If you've never heard of her, Google her, and you'll find that she is the most profound and knowledgeable woman. She comes from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She'll be on the program as well, ultimately. And she comes from the place where the Gap Band came from. And I learned something from her. She said that the Gap Band came from Tulsa, and they commemorated Tulsa with their initials of their GAP. G stands for Greenwood, the Main Street, and Black Wall Street. A stands for Archie. I guess that's where the churches and so on and so forth are. And P stands for Payne Street, Gap Band. That caught my attention with her. She's a profound lady. I'm not sure of the date, but you check with us and we'll tell you ultimately. But October 6th, Molefi Asante, please don't miss him. And on the 30th day of next Saturday, the CMOTEP organization over in New York City is having me for 2 hours to speak on my Black Studies program and some of the things that Dr. Joseph Ben Johanan, I don't know if you know Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben was my mentor. Yeah, well, there are a couple of things that people were questioning about his scholarship. And so me as his mentor, I have to make sure I tell them where he got his information from, because he's not here to be able to tell them himself. Anyway, it's interesting. that's basically what I have to say. And thank you so much, you and your daughter and the rest of your family and friends. And you do a good work when you deal with healthcare, when you deal with anything to do with breathing and meditation and so on. I'm 78 years old, and I actually feel like I'm 32. And for real, because I took good care of my body.
All right. Mr. Williams, yes, thank you, Brother Williams. And Sister D. Terrell, you see why he was my history teacher back in the day, right? The brother is he's abundantly wealthy with knowledge. And that's Mr. Williams. And I'm just so proud after all these years, he's still around because he looked for me. And I'd just like to the listener audience, tune in Friday at 8 p.m. for Mr. Williams, because anything you need to know about our history and not his story, Mr. Williams will know. Anyway, family, listen, I'm not going to hold Sister D. Terrell, all right, because last time when she came on, all right, there were a lot of people participating in questions and answers, and I'm sure that you guys, if it's not pertaining to a certain point in your life, in terms of what she's talking about, you might have a loved one or someone you know that might be affected by what she talked about, and you could take this information back to your siblings or friends, all right, and if they'll listen, because that's the whole thing. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So this is what we do here on Grown Folks Talking Network. We try to encourage, enlighten, and inspire people. That's why I started this network 3 years ago. So is there anyone that has a comment or a question? Take yourself off mute. Take yourself on mute. And would you like to say anything to Sister D. Terrell before she leaves and gives her contact information? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to do the countdown. Going once. Going twice.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, well, guess what? We sold on the fact that no one else wants to listen. And I want to thank people for listening, because some people just may have wanted to listen. I appreciate the people that did make a comment or ask a question, all right? Because sometimes we have 3 or 4 that ask questions or make comments, and sometimes we have 10 and 12. That's how the show goes. That's showbiz.
Young Forrest, Brother Williams.
Yes,
here.
Mr. Williams, real quick. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I'd like to invite Sister D and her daughter to appear on my podcast at some point in time, because I think they would give a profound story or present one that would be very helpful to if they would be gracious enough to accept.
Well, yeah. Well, they got to check. Mr. Williams, I have their information. It's not a problem. But first, before either one comes on yours, Mr. Williams, I got to get her lovely daughter on first, and then from that point we're going to move on your show for the future date. Not a problem, Mr. Williams. You're going to steal my guest.
No, I'd like to add
I got you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, I said I got you.
After you got the information out of there, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, listen. I learned from you when I was in high school, so now it's time for the student to give back to the teacher. You know I'm always thankful for you, Mr. Williams, of course, all right? So, family, I'm just going to go back with the final thought from Sister D. Terrell and also from my lovely daughter, because Ariel's still listening, so she needs the information from you too, my dear. So, Sister D. Terrell, if you'd like to give out your information for the people in terms of your podcast, or I'm sorry, your website or your information for the belly. So here we go, sis. Yes. Family, pens and pads. Here we go. Mark it down on your phones, on your pad. Here we go.
So 2 resources I'd like to share with you. One is a free resource, which is 12 Secrets to Beating Jelly Belly. I'm on Facebook, and I listed the link on the Facebook page. So all you have to do is click it, because it's a really long URL. So rather than have you go through that, you can just put in my name, which is D', capital T like Tom, ARELLE, and the last name is Tullis, T like Tom, ULL, I like Indian, S like Sam. You can go and get that free resource. My website is Beat Jelly Belly Fitness, so it's BEAT Jelly, Jelly, Belly, BELLY, Fitness, FITNESS.com, Beat Jelly Belly Fitness. You can also contact me by email at happier, HAPPIER 91011 at gmail.com. You can also contact me by phone at 908-280-4359. Once again, that number is 908-280-4359. And my closing remarks is I just want to encourage people to just tell you that you are wonderful and amazing. And even though I'm talking to you through the phone, I am saying that from the place of I know who made you, so that's how I can say that. The second thing I want to encourage you with is that wherever you can start, because sometimes people can't start with diet, sometimes people can't start with movement. But just as I said in the beginning, you are a whole being with these different aspects of you. So maybe it might not be physical. Maybe it's easier for you first thing when you get up in the morning to say a prayer and write down 5 positive things about yourself or 5 things that you're grateful for, or even 3 or 2, so that you can begin to program your mind to think positively, to think well of yourself. And this is a form of self-care. So wherever you can start, whether it's through writing, whether it's through singing, whether it's through movement, whatever it is that brings you joy and brings you happiness, that is going to keep your brain and your mind and your perspective open to be able to spot opportunities and to be able to spot good things. So I hope this helps. And I want to just one thing I wanted to tell you, because I know my daughter's going to be modest and not tell you, that she's having a webinar coming up, and she'll tell you how to get in contact with her and be able to tell you more information about it. Yana, I'm going to turn it over to you. Yana, are you still there? He might have left. So if you want to still get in contact with my daughter, you can just contact me and tell me that you want to get in contact with my daughter, and I'll just pass the information on to her. So all that information, if you want to speak to Yana, you can send it to me. And thank you once again, Forrest Nance. It's my pleasure.
Sister, thank you back. I appreciate you. And stop all that laughing. It's contagious over here. Stop that. You got Ariel laughing too. Hey,
good to laugh. Believe it or not, laughter is something that, you know what, it says in the Bible that laughter is good medicine, is good for, it really is good for you, because that's something that activates your vagus nerve too. So and plus you're getting oxygen as well, so you're oxygenating your brain. It is such a good thing to laugh as much as possible. People have healed, and that's another tip for your friend that you were saying that was having those mini strokes, to look at comedy, look at things, and they have a ton of videos on YouTube. Just look at things that will make them laugh, bring them joy, make them happy. You're automatically going to feel a lot better.
That's right. Well, sister, listen, I'm going to have Sister Ariel, who spoke earlier, get in contact with you for Yana's information, because she wants to go into the field of herbs, and she could refer her. And those two are in the same age range, so they'll get along very well.
Yay. All right.
Yes. But I just want to thank you, and I also want to I just want to let the listeners know this is part 1 of the show. And, sister, if you don't have anything to do with Sister D. Terrell, you might want to put your phone on mute and listen to Brother Rashad, because he has a wealth of information. He's part 2 of our show. So I'm gonna let our DJ. I'm gonna let our DJ, Mr. Williams, if you got something mellow and something nice to play after we take our dear Sister D off. I didn't give you the third record, Mr. Williams. So if you want to throw something up there, like maybe Ice Cold or something, this might take Sister D. Terrell back when she met her husband, because, you know, back then, you remember how it was, Sister D. Terrell. We were in them basement parties back in the day with the Zodiac sign. So, Brother Williams, if you have, Brother Williams, if you got Ice Cold up there, I want to play this on the way out. I dedicate this to Sister D. Terrell. This will take her back. It's called Sheer Magic, Sister. I don't know if you remember that record. This group came out of Youngstown, Ohio. So, Mr. Williams, please. Hit me, Mr.
Corvus, could you repeat the number one more time?
Yes, one more time. Can you repeat that?
Can you hear me? Okay, good. 908 280 4359.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, the board will be in contact with you. All right, Mr. Williams, we're going to play this. We're going to dedicate this to Sister D. Terrell and her husband, okay, because this is going to take them back. Takes me back to the good times. Thank you, Sister D. Terrell.
You're welcome, Forrest. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay, family, here we go. Now, as everyone knows, this man needs no introduction. So without further delay, we're going to have our dear resident intern, scholarly, nutritionally sound fit man, along with Brother Abdul. Our dear brother Rashad, please put your phones on mute, family. And once again, I'd like to thank Sister D. Terrell for coming on and her lovely daughter, Yana. Beautiful people, as you can hear. Well, Brother Rashad, are you there, my brother?
Yes, I am, my brother.
All right, brother. The microphone, I'm tossing it to you, brother. It's all yours. Go right ahead, my brother.
Thank you, Brother Forrest. Good evening to the listening audience. And also, I think it's Sister Deborah's birthday today.
Yep.
Well, I want to wish her a happy birthday. As a matter of fact, her birthday is the same day as John Coltrane, the great saxophonist.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, she turned 74 today. Congratulations, Sister Deborah.
She's 74?
Stop it. 57.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Rashad.
All right.
I'm sorry, Brother Rashad. That was Sister Carol that turned 74. My bad.
Oh, Carol. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all good. That's good. That's a good age.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good age.
He's trying to get in trouble today, Brother Rashad.
I hear you, my dear. Anyway, again, I want to thank Sister D. Terrell for her wonderful presentation. And also my good brother, Professor Williams, playing all that good music, which I really enjoy. So, and that Frank the Lineman, man, that took me back some years.
Yeah, brother.
Yes. Anyway, tonight we're going to do a little something different. I'm going to share a video with you that you can listen to. This is someone who's a hidden figure you may or may not know. And this sister, she's an African-American sister. She's a physicist. And she's finding a way to cure cancer with nanotechnology. So I'm going to get ready and prepare this so that you can hear her and become aware of her, because a lot of times, you know, the media won't tell you about folks like this. They keep it hidden, just like they did with the Hidden Figures, with the movie. They never told you about, and now things come out. So I want you all to hear and listen to the sister. Let me pull this up and get it ready. Okay, let me see if I can get this here. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I got her. Okay, so everybody put yourself on mute and listen to this sister. Her name is the physicist Hadia Nicole Green. That's her name, Hadia Nicole Green. So I'm getting ready to play it, so listen up, and you'll get to know this sister that we all need to know. And we got to find more hidden figures like her and brothers too. So here we go, brothers and sisters.
Dr. Hadia Nicole Green. And if you haven't already heard about her, you will soon, because she is on track to change the world with her research. Using lasers and nanotechnology, she has found a way to target and kill cancer cells in mice. She founded the Aura Lee Cancer Research Foundation to expand upon her work and ultimately change the way cancer is treated. In 2016, she was listed by Ebony Magazine as one of the 100 most influential African Americans. In 2018, BET honored her as the Breast Cancer Advocate of the Year. And just last year, she was noted by Business Insider as one of the top 30 under 40 in healthcare. The list goes on and on, folks. I want you to hear all about her work, so let's get to it. Say hey, sis. Hey, sis. Hi.
Brittany, I am so excited to be here with you and so proud of the work you're doing to raise awareness.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm so proud of you and all the work that you do. It's literally amazing. And you are on track to change the world, just like I said.
Thank you so much. This is definitely a walk and my steps are ordered. One step at a time, making it happen.
Yes, God is leading you to great.
I'm trying to get sprinkled up here. All right.
Servant.
I want everyone to
Boris. Boris? I thought I heard your voice. I thought you wanted to say something.
So go right ahead, brother. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or not.
No. Go ahead, brother. Tommy, I'm sorry. I'm on mute.
Okay, here we go.
learn a little bit more about who you are and what you do. So let's start with what your journey has been to get you to this point, and then we'll talk more about what it is that you are doing on a day-to-day.
Okay, awesome. So my backstory, my aunt and uncle, Laura Lee Smith and General Lee Smith, raised me and my brothers from when I was 4 years old. And they took us in after raising 8 children of their own, after my parents and grandparents all passed away by the time when I was 4. So coming into their household with my brothers, even though people describe me as an orphan, I had the only time I really felt different was when I was wondering why was I the only one who didn't have biological parents raising me. And I would ask, like, why me, God? Why me? And as I got older, my brother really poured into me a lot and taught me his 4th grade homework when I was in kindergarten and gave me my love for learning. And my aunt instilled in me the old-fashioned principles of treat people how you want to be treated and pray and, just go as far as I can in education and do my best with everything. So she really grounded me. And my uncle was always there to encourage me, to support and believe in me. So it wasn't that I became the first in my family as an island. I got to that point because people supported me, and there was a whole village in my community who helped raise me. So when I went to Alabama A&M University, love my HBCU, I went on full academic scholarship, and the Deltas, when I was in high school, groomed and mentored me, and I was class president all 4 years in high school. And then when I got to Alabama A&M University, I was involved in a lot of extracurricular activities and different leadership positions. And I interned at NASA, interned at University of Rochester Institute of Optics, and I was planning this career in optical communications. And after serving as Miss Alabama A&M University, clean for a year, I was graduated with a 4.0 in physics, and then the day after graduation, my aunt announced that she had what she referred to as woman's cancer, and she said that she would rather die than experience the side effects of chemotherapy and radiation. I became her primary caregiver the last 3 months of her life, and 3 months after she passed, my uncle who raised me was diagnosed with cancer, and I was his primary caregiver as he went through chemo and radiation treatments. So I saw firsthand the horrors of cancer and the horrors of cancer care, and knew there had to be a better way. And so I literally changed my life trajectory from trying to revolutionize the way we receive cable and internet, which was my original career trajectory, to dedicating my life to revolutionizing the way we treat cancer.
Wow. That is an amazing story because it's just literally how you were raised is what formed what you knew that your life's purpose would be.
Yeah, and part of it, when I was their caregiver, it was, I didn't understand why me when I was growing up, why me when I became Miss Alabama A&M, and then when this happened, and the treatment, I actually developed it when I was in graduate school at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and I ended up with 3 degrees in physics and 5 years of training at the Comprehensive Cancer Center and a year of training in the Department of Pathology at University of Alabama at Birmingham. And I developed this technology that shows complete elimination of cancer in mice after 1 treatment over the course of 15 days with no observable side effects. using lasers and nanotechnology. And it dawned on me, why not me? Maybe this was my purpose in life. And cancer picked up battle with the wrong one. And God gave me the tools that I needed scientifically to bring a completely new approach to an old disease. And on top of that, gave me the vision to take this technology and instead of going the traditional route of starting a for-profit company, saying, let me start a nonprofit so this technology can be affordable and accessible for all, especially people who come from backgrounds like mine.
For all, especially because so many people they get the disease and they think that, oh, this is a death sentence to me. Like, I won't be able to survive this.
Unfortunately. And we get literally, cancer patients reaching out to us now every day asking if they can sign up because they've either been sent home and told there's nothing else we can do, or they would just rather not do chemo and radiation. And one of the facts that's so disheartening is that there are nearly 9 million people a year who die from cancer around the world every year. And that's even with the best of all of the available modern cancer therapy, alternative medicines, and all the interventions, there's still nearly 9 million people a year who die from cancer. And so our goal is to try to save some of those 9 million people through the work at the Aura Lee Smith Cancer Research Foundation. And so it's been a very heart-wrenching journey, but this is how I turned my tragedy into triumph, and how all of our volunteers at the Aura Lee Foundation turn our tragedy into triumph, turn our pain into purpose, and to really take hold of a problem and say, we're not like the other cancer nonprofits because we're not just raising money for the hope of a cure that we may one day find, hopefully.
Yeah.
We've already established and developed a technology that we've proven works in laboratory mice, and now we're raising awareness and raising money so that we can begin human trials with the technology. And a lot of people, when they think about like this business model, 2 of the top major cancer charities raise over $1 billion a year with no cure to show for it.
What?
Right.
Wow.
And so now, in the light of all of the things that are happening post-COVID-19 with the second global pandemic of addressing racism in America and around the world, I want to talk a little bit about racism in healthcare, racism in science, racism in research, and how African-American sciences are underfunded by the government and these nonprofits. And I don't want to say the government, but there's data showing that 1 in 10 proposals by Black researchers receive support from the National Institutes of Health, where our counterparts were funded. 1 in 6 proposals were funded for our white counterparts. So this is not my opinion. There's documented disparity in research. And so instead of begging people to change, I started my own cancer nonprofit to say, you can see me as the scientist. We are within 12 months. We are within 12 months of beginning our first human trial once we reach our first $10 million fundraising goal.
Wow.
And I know people hear $10 million and think that's a lot of money, but really, if people who hear this donated $1, donated $5 or $10 a month, $25 a month is our average donation. Having millions of people donate a little bit is actually more effective than trying to wait on one person to donate millions of dollars. Because those people who could donate millions of dollars, they're not in my cell phone right now. So I can't call them up and say, hey. And so part of my petition as a scientist, as a tech founder of a nonprofit, is to say, let's address this disparity of racism in healthcare, of racism in research, and let's build this bridge for us to save ourselves, for us to address this problem ourselves instead of waiting on someone. And part of one of the things my aunt would tell me, she was like, use the brain that the good Lord gave you. And as a scientist coming from our community, it's important that we solve problems that matter to us. And there's a lot of research going on the planet, and I commend all of those who are doing research that will one day lead to something useful. That's important too. But for me, my motivation was to start with what problem can I solve with what I know? What is going to have a more immediate impact for my community? So when I'm asking people to support, it's not a theory. It's evidence-based. It's been published in scientific journals. It's been peer-reviewed. I've actually gotten a grant from the government. I'm one of the few African-American scientists who has received a grant for $1 million. And so, thank you. Shout out to the Department of Veteran Affairs. But I think it's important for African-American scientists to have a voice about how not only are we underrepresented, but the racism that we experience with funding, with opportunities, and in education. There was a report that came out from Harvard some years back about how Black scientists who get a PhD from predominantly white institutions come out with PTSD.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
I can believe it.
This is what I'm saying about, like, because we don't talk about it, people think, oh, like, you're the poster child for success. This came with strikes, with tears. This was hard, not impossible. And I would tell myself, my ancestors picked cotton from can't see in the morning to can't see at night. My ancestors survived the transatlantic slave trade. My ancestors survived beatings and brutality that's beyond imagine. So this systemic racism that I'm dealing with is the disparities, the discouragement. That's a comparison that's easy.
Yeah.
This is easy compared to that. And so that would push me to get past my hurt feelings and sometimes even what some other people might describe as brokenness to say, you can't win. Because my ancestors prayed for me. I'm the answers to their prayers. I'm beyond their wildest dreams. I'm living a life that's beyond their wildest dreams. And so I stand on the broad shoulders of those who came before us. And I specifically choose to work at a historically Black college, and now I'm at a historically Black medical school on purpose because we have to support us.
Yes.
We have to support us. So I know I've been talking, but it's just, I just got on my soapbox. But these are things that we really need to understand so that we can support Black charities. We can support Black schools, Black hospitals, Black doctors, Black medical schools. We have to support us. And for all of our allies who may see this, it's important for you all to put your money in Black scientists, in Black charities, in Black schools, in Black hospitals. That matters too. Because there is so much systemic racism that happens from the entire, the whole process can be improved. And just like they're taking down statues and flags and changing laws, this also needs to change. Black people can't tolerate more pain than other people just because we're Black. Stop the madness. Stop. And so, we need to include Black people in clinical trials. We need to include Black people in the research funding. And there are some organizations people don't even realize that they identify or their friends said, we need money. So they went in and led this big campaign and this big organization to fund just a handful of scientists that if you're not part of the inner circle, you don't even have access to. Yet the whole world thinks because celebrities endorsed it, that that's the cool in thing, and it's only in because the celebrities endorsed it. So do your research about where your money's going and make sure that if you're supporting something, that they're supporting you back. How many Black scientists do they fund? What kind of research are they funding? Does this research benefit our community? Will we see a cure from this? How many years have we been supporting these organizations without a benefit to the people who look like us? And if we haven't, we need to ask for some receipts, hold them accountable, and or stop funding them and start supporting Black charities. Specifically, I'm going to put in a plug for the Orally. Yes, and you can support us by shopping on Amazon Smile and choosing us as your cancer charity. can donate your birthday on Facebook. You can name us in your life insurance policy and your estate plans. We can be beneficiaries. We have our 501c3 nonprofit status with the IRS, so we can accept cars and houses and anything that people want to donate to us, we can accept that. And it literally can be something as simple as $1. You can go to oralee.org, ORALEE.org, and just stand with us even with $1, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you can spare. It doesn't have to be a big gesture. Just do something now while we're here and available to do this. Don't take for granted that somebody else is going to fund the research.
Because all the other researchers, they have their millionaire friends, like you said, and they can just dig in their pocket and say, here you go. But we have to rely on our family and our community, and that's the best way for us to get all of our businesses and foundations off the ground so that way it can actually impact our community. And I commend you for everything. Like, yes, use this platform as a way to plug your project, tell everybody send the money here right now. This is what you need to do.
I appreciate you getting that. And a lot of times people are saying, why don't celebrities? Well, I don't know them. But if you're hearing this and you're seeing this, why don't you?
Yes, because every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts. And so recently we just crossed over a major milestone that I didn't even feel like we could celebrate. We just entered into the rare space of raising $1 million through crowdfunding through my nonprofit. And because we don't want a target on our back, we're just doing a quiet thank you to everyone who has donated already, to everyone who supported us. And we know the history of Tulsa. We know the history of Rosewood. And we are very humble that we're doing this in the middle of 2 global pandemics when 30 million people are unemployed or who have filed for unemployment. And we're very sensitive to what's happening in the climate right now. But I also want to acknowledge that last I checked, there were only 32 other black women who ever raised $1 million or more for a company.
Wow.
And I shared this with one of my mentors at the tech incubator we're part of, and he said, I'll tell you something even more rare, Dr. Green, that there have only been 12 black people, when you include men, who've raised $2 million or more for a company. And so we're climbing into these uncharted territories, into this rare space, but this is not just my journey. If it was, I would already raise the money if I could snap my fingers. This takes everybody who's ever lost someone to cancer, everybody who's ever thought that there should have been a cure for cancer by now, or somebody's suppressing it. When BT ran the headline, I'm our best hope for curing cancer, it was humbling. And I translated that to say, even if there were other cures, because people are so accustomed to selling out, that we may not have access to it. So me starting this nonprofit is the best chance we have at having access to something that kills cancer, so it can be available for all of us. And if you believe in affordable health care, if you believe in a better way to treat cancer, that there's a cure out there somewhere, support what we've already shown and demonstrated, using lasers and nanotechnology to kill cancer, complete elimination of tumors in mice. And we're raising money to begin human trials. We need to reach our first $10 million fundraising goal. And then within 12 months, we can start human trials. We're not 20 years away. Research me, oralee.org, Google me, Dr. Hadia Green. Do your research. All of that, but support. One of the things, if I can share this, one of the brothers who is leading the initiative to establish a partnership with the Kappas, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, he was sharing about this work at a fraternity meeting, and somebody stood up and asked, well, we want to see her research and we want to see her credentials and all that. And he was like, well, she has it, but you don't ask that from Susan G. Komen. You don't ask that from American Cancer Society. You don't ask those questions from these other. As she said, this is from the white cancer nonprofits. You don't even know what their researchers look like. But go research it her because she has the credentials, but don't hold her to a higher standard than you hold everybody else. And I don't mind, because I know I have to be 10 times better than everybody else. I know when I come that people are going to scrutinize me. I've had a top secret security clearance before, got almost perfect credit, because I know I don't have room for errors. But that's how we have to show up, like flawless and blemishless, for people to even give us a chance. And I'm saying, that's cool, but still support. If you've ever donated to a cancer nonprofit, please choose the Oral Lee Smith Cancer Research Foundation as your cancer charity of choice. That's all I'm asking. However that shows up, even if it's a birthday fundraiser, and even on Amazon Smile, you don't even have to donate. Just select us, and when you shop, Amazon will donate.
Make it easy, because you know that everybody's over there ordering something off of Amazon.
Yes.
Let them do the donation.
Right. And it's just having the unity in our community where we're getting the word out about the work that we're doing, and people with all of their skepticism, which is fine. I encourage you, research me, vet me, but also leverage that information to help me. Don't just watch and wait and pray. We need you to pray, but don't just only do that. We need you to take action and stand with me. And when you see people who are trying to do something, support. Don't just be a bystander. Silence and not supporting, that's not how this happens. When people come together, that's how change happens. So we're on the brink of a revolution, and we need everybody to be with us.
And we want you to be the one to lead that revolution. Now, I want to take a little step back, because for people who have been fortunate enough to not experience cancer within their lifetimes or within their families, I want to compare what it is that your research is going to do versus how cancer is currently treated. Because I know that you're trying to eliminate those nasty side effects and long-lasting effects that the current treatment may have, correct?
Absolutely. So, great question. So, current cancer treatments, chemotherapy specifically, and radiation are not specific to only cancer cells. So, let's go with radiation. It's like putting you in the microwave and saying, we'll kill the cancer, but yet at the same time they're killing a lot of other cells as well. So, this radiation is burning you with radiation to kill cancer. And there are some new ways that they're doing it where they try to localize it to a region of the body so that it's not completely over your entire body. But when my uncle was going through chemo and radiation, the radiation made his skin look like it had literally been in a barbecue pit. And he looked like he had been barbecued. So chemotherapy uses chemicals that go into the body through an injection or infusion, and it circulates, and the idea is that it will eliminate more cancer than healthy cells. Well, the reason why a lot of these chemotherapies have such extensive side effects is because the characteristics of cancer are shared with the characteristics of healthy cells. So healthy cells and cancer cells have similar characteristics.
So they can't tell the difference between them, really? It's going in there trying to target those cells, but it'll mistake it for a healthy cell, and in the process kill those healthy cells too.
It doesn't discriminate. Chemo is not racist. It's not cellist. It's not cellularist. It doesn't discriminate. It will take out anything. And the idea is that some of the cancer cells may be overexpressed, some things more than others, but the goal is to kill cancer, right? So my approach was, they don't take all that to kill cancer if you just focus on cancer. So I'm coming with a completely different scientific background. I'm not a biologist, so I didn't want to do a deep dive into the biology of cancer and cancer cells. I'm not a chemist, so I didn't want to do a deep dive into the chemistry of drugs. I'm a physicist with 3 degrees in physics, so I came with my background and expertise in lasers and nanotechnology and fiber optics which is a different level of precision. When you have sensors and cell phones and your remote control on your TV, you're turning the channel. The radio doesn't come on when you're trying to turn on the TV, or you're changing the channel. When you're calling somebody with your cell phone, even if they're in a room full of people, the person standing next to them doesn't answer your call. They answer it.
Yeah.
So if you can have this kind of precision when you're making a cell phone call, why can't you have this kind of precision when you're treating cancer? So I took inspiration from cell phones and satellites. So a satellite out of space could tell whether a dime on the ground is face up or face down. That's the kind of, this is the high tech we're using. So when I was interning at NASA, I was calibrating lasers for the International Space Station. And I'm like, satellites can do what? And this was like back when, before GPS came out, when it was still being developed. And I'm like, technology is amazing. So why not use the advances that we have in the telecom world and bring that over to treating cancer, which, if I can speak frankly, feels to me, who has been a caregiver to someone who watched both parents die from cancer, to me, cancer treatments that are currently available feel barbaric, especially when we look at many computers on our cell phones that can keep the whole world connected while we're on COVID-19 pandemic 1.
Yeah.
And locked down and away from everyone, where we're having the spontaneity of movements happening all over the place with our cell phones, right? We have a whole video studio, recording studio, games, and FaceTime, and all of this technology where you have these microcomputers who can edit movies and do all kinds of amazing things at the tip of your finger. So taking that kind of technology and bringing it over to cancer, as a physicist, was more natural to me instead of using. So back to your original question, the reason why the treatments are different is because the whole approach is different. So using lasers is a completely different approach than using a chemical that's going to flow through the body, or radiation that's like the spotlight. So imagine a laser point in comparison to these other two. So that's where we start with this, not even here, but like the tip of my fingertip. That's the area that we're pinpointing now, and we can tune the size of it so it's a little smaller or larger to personalize it to the size of the tumor we're treating. So we're using this laser pointer. I know it's rude to point, but we're using this laser pointer that's on average the size of my fingertip, and we're using that to shine into the tumor. But what's making it work is not the laser by itself, which is harmless by design to minimize side effects. And we're activating these little tiny particles that I developed, and I made a new protocol for making my nanoparticles more uniform in shape and size so they perform specifically to the laser that I'm using to activate them, not regular sunlight or other types of light, just specifically to this laser pointer size laser. So these nanoparticles, we're only going to inject them at the site of the tumor. And even if you put them in other places, when you shine the laser on the tumor, it's only going to activate the nanoparticles in the tumor. Because the nanoparticles, before you activate them, are harmless. So you have harmless nanotechnology and a harmless laser that by themselves aren't going to kill anything. So you have to be wrong twice in order to kill something that you're not targeting.
Okay.
So by shining the laser at the site of the tumor where the nanoparticles are injected, we kill just what we're targeting and not all the rest of the person. We're not causing any harm anywhere else. And this is the beauty of why there aren't any of those side effects in the technology. Is by design. It's not on accident, because I saw what the other models were, and I'm like, there has to be something better. If we're using precision, we can activate this the same way you activate a sensor or you activate your cell phone to make a call. It's that kind of one-to-one. And for all the STEM sisters out here, it's the plasma resonance absorption of the nanoparticles that's allowing the electrons to oscillate so rapidly that they heat up. And we're providing a thermal ablation other thermal ablations because it's on the nanometer level with precision and accuracy.
Okay.
And so it's a completely new approach to treat a tumor at the site of the tumor. And there have been people since I started in this area who are now also doing that. And there are some people who want to hold on to the old school of thought that systemic treatment is just as effective as local treatment. But when, I'm coming from the perspective of a caregiver, before I was a scientist, before I was Dr. Green, that's what pulls at my heartstrings to make sure this is something that's patient-centered, not economically centered.
Because that was actually going to be the question I'm posing, is that if they're taking that systemic approach where they're, trying to kill the cancer in one area by treating the entire body, then it's going to lead to a sickness in another area, but then that could also, you pay money for this, you pay money for that, and then it ends up becoming a business, which it is. It's literally a business.
And so, and part of what I'm careful about, because I'm not trying to wage a war with the pharmaceutical industry at all.
Okay.
There are a lot of early stage cancers, that with early detection can save lives. So if you get diagnosed with stage 1, stage 2 breast, prostate cancer, you have like a 95% chance of surviving using currently available chemotherapy and radiation intervention.
Okay.
The challenge is most black people don't go to the doctor like we're supposed to. So by the time we get diagnosed with cancer, it's stage 4.
Yep, that's very true.
Right, and so these are not my words, but in the scientific literature, there's documentation that stage 4 cancer is that chemotherapy and radiation is about 85 to 95% ineffective against stage 4 cancer. So this is why this is specifically a passion of mine, because there's this gap. So when people are like, oh, the pharmaceutical company is not going to like you, I'm not competing with them. Because their treatments don't work for the kind of cancer patients I'm targeting, for the types of cancer I want to go after. So I'm specifically looking to have these late-stage, advanced, chemo-resistant, inoperable, late-stage cancers, because that's where chemotherapy and radiation, and even, frankly speaking, these alternative medicines are just not effective. And that's not a slight. These are documented facts. And part of that, the next step in that is that as a result, there are nearly 9 million people a year who die from cancer. They're not dying from stage 1, stage 2 cancers. They're dying from stage 4 cancers that are chemo-resistant, inoperable, that, they don't have any other treatment options. And so using this information to help save lives, go get your screening. And when they say, the recommended age is 50 or 60, if you are a black woman, a black man, and you have any history of cancer in your family, you need to start advocating to get tested and screened for cancers in your 30s.
Okay.
I get so many cancer patients in their 30s who have advanced aggressive breast cancer or who have some kind of brain tumor. So please, if something feels off, go get checked. Get your annual exams. Eat right. Exercise. Pray. Meditate. Keep your stress low. Take control of your health. Don't be the victim. Genetic cancers only account for about 15%. That's stuff you really can't help. Everybody else can help prevent cancer with your lifestyle choices. So make sure you eliminate as much junk food, eliminate pork and all that red meat and things that you know aren't good for you, and desserts and sugar cookies and all of that stuff. Find the healthiest alternative. Eat your fruit for sweet. Eat your vegetables. Drink water. Put lemon in it. I personally do eat right for my blood type. I'm not giving anybody any medical advice or telling anybody anything, but use your common sense about making healthy choices about what you eat so that your body has what it needs. I take vitamin C and vitamin D and a daily multivitamin to keep my immune system strong. And these are things that we can do to take care of ourselves, but it's so important for us not to only feel like we have no control, even when the system is not always. Like, try to find a doctor who cares about you. And make sure that you're writing your questions down before you go into the clinic so that you can make sure all your questions are being answered and that you understand what's happening to you.
Yeah.
So stay informed and stay on top. I know that was a soapbox from what you said, but it just breaks my heart that people feel like they can't do anything about being healthy when some of the simplest steps are just changing your diet, changing your exercise routine, drinking more water, less other types of beverages. And I don't want to get into any fights with any, other industries. That's not what I'm about. I just want people to live and to live healthy and to be strong in mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah. And like you pointed out, you're a physicist, so you're taking a completely different approach to this cure. And do you have to work closely with oncologists who have been, trained in the area of cancer, and that's been their research true and true?
So, very good question. So, I collaborate. That's a key term.
Okay.
So, I collaborate with oncologists and surgeons. At my HBCU medical school where I work for my day job, I'm in the Department of Surgery. And around the country, I have collaborators who specialize in a variety of different cancers who have not just agreed to host my clinical trials, but they are excited about the technology, and they all acknowledge that their patients need this technology now. And so they're all on board to host clinical trials in a variety of cancers, including breast, prostate, colorectal, anal, cervical, skin, head and neck, brain, lung, cervical, and ovarian cancers. It's, as I say, from the rooter to the tutor. So there's a lot to, there's even other areas, and it may be just because I don't have those collaborators, and people constantly introducing me to people on that side, but until we raise the money to begin human trial number 1, that expanding it broader isn't moving it forward. Those are two different objectives. And so even though we're moving everything forward, for me the focus is on let's begin the clinical trial, the first one, and then we can expand into other indications. But to answer your specific question, I do collaborate with surgeons and oncologists because they will be the people who will actually administer the clinical trial. I'll just be an advisor and a collaborator to facilitate their training, but I do not see patients.
Okay, I see what you mean. So you're creating the overall technology that they would use, and then they would be the people actually administering that to the patients that get into your human trials.
Absolutely. So let me give you this example. Because I'm a physicist, most people don't know what physicists do. So famous physicists have created the X-ray machine. It was actually a woman, Madame Curie, created the X-ray that we use at the hospital. The MRI, the CAT scans, those were also created by physicists. So physicists create the instruments that we use in the hospitals, right? But they're not the people who administer them, right? And so sometimes people don't understand the difference between a PhD research scientist and inventor and a medical doctor who sees patients and administers medicine and facilitates instrumentation.
Yeah, because I didn't even make that connection the way you pointed it out. The fact that the X-ray was created by a physicist. When I think physics, I think back to my Physics 201 course and learning about drawing free body diagrams and which way that the force is putting, and then the quantum mechanics and all of these different things. That's what I think of when I think physics. But now that you're showing how it can be applied in healthcare, that's a completely different approach to the field.
Absolutely, and this is literally applied physics. Because for me, the abstract physics didn't appeal to me because I'm like, what are we going to do with that? What's the practical applied purpose for this? Like, how is this useful? And that was always my question at the beginning of every physics class. And I know I drove my physics professor crazy with that. Like, okay, what can we do with this? Because that I had to anchor it in something useful, like why am I in thermodynamics? Oh, okay. Studying classical mechanics? Oh, okay. Quantum mechanics? Okay. So it gave me an anchor to fall in love with the subject as opposed to just studying, theoretical concepts and equations. It made it make sense to me to know how can this be used. So I've always loved applied physics. And I'm like, this is what happened in order for us to get electricity, in order for the doors to open without us touching them, in order for us to get cell phones.
Yeah.
How we got our x-ray machine and the MRI and the CAT scan. Okay, this is how we're able to scan fingerprints to open our new phones or our face recognition on our phones. Like, okay, physics is driving all of this technology and people don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And you mentioned it a couple of times, the fact that you are a professor at an HBCU in the field of surgery is Morehouse College, correct?
Yeah, so actually I have a research lab at Morehouse School of Medicine. So I train students in my lab, and that's my day job. So I don't actually teach courses right now because I'm focused on building my research program and focused on getting these clinical trials. And most of my salary comes from grant funding, so I bought my time.
Yes, because it's nonprofits, they are a business, but it's not always the profit that's going to help sustain you in your daily life. So that's why you said you have to have that day job.
Yeah, and for me, and this is something that people should know, I don't take a salary from my nonprofit. I treat it like a tech startup where I'm putting money in. So when I do speaking engagements, I actually have them make my honorarium payable to the foundation. And I put in my own day job salary into the foundation to cover operational expenses so that all of the donations can go towards the purpose and why we're raising money. So it's a completely interesting scenario, but a lot of professors have startup companies on the side. Mine just happens to be a nonprofit. It's a tech-based nonprofit, but it's a nonprofit. So this is my volunteer work.
Nice. I understand it completely because I have my
audience. Can you hear me? Boris?
Mic check, brother. I'm right here.
Okay. This video is going to go on for a little while more. And I know it's already like 8:12, and I know that Sister Nabia is supposed to be coming on 8:30. So anybody who's interested in hearing more about this sister, as a matter of fact, the person who introduced the sister to the world is Roland Martin from Roland Martin's show. He introduced the sister. So that's a beautiful thing that he brought the sisters
brain.
Yeah, to the world anyway. But you can always just Google Hadia Nicole Green, and you'll see a few videos in there, and especially with Roland Martin. That's the first one I listened to today was with Roland Martin. But this one specifically I wanted to share because she did share a lot. So if you get a chance, look her up. See, these are the hidden figures, like I said, that they don't want you to know about. They try to keep it hush-hush. The media won't even bring attention to them. So we do it. So I just want to share that. And lastly, I want to share this because next week, program, I want to share something that a friend of mine gave to me. He, his neighbor, lady, in her home, she found an old catalog from 1930, and the cat. Somebody has to mute themselves there, please. And
Brother Michelle, hold on.
Brother Williams, before we go off, mute that person, please. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is a little bit about history of our people. This catalog she found, and they use the old term Negro, it's called the Negro Market. This was published in 1930. And this, I'm telling you, this catalog got beautiful pictures and showed the accomplishments of our people back then. And it shows the hospitals they built, the hospitals they have, the homes, the businesses, all these things. Wonderful, beautiful pictures in here. And I was really amazed. I said, wow, this is something that our people need to look at, help motivate them, because this is what we were doing back then. We were really busy doing the things that we should be doing now. We were building community life. And because of segregation, we were able to do these things more so. And so now I'm looking at these pictures. I say, we can still do this. We can still do this. There's nothing stopping us but ourselves. So even graveyards, they had their own graveyards. You see some of the beautiful churches they built. I mean, huge ones. And then you see in here all the advertisements from back in the day. I mean, it's like, wow, this is like a little treasure. This booklet is a nice treasure, something that we need to have. And it shows all the different black newspapers that were that they had back then, all the different papers, black papers, like they had one called the Supreme Chancellor Coast, the Houston Informer. We know about the Amsterdam News, the Chicago Defender, the Louisiana Weekly, and a whole bunch of other ones. I mean, there's a lot of them in here. And these are things that, our people were producing back then. So, and the homes. You should see the beautiful homes our people owned back then. I'm like, wow, and so, like I had thanked the brother so much because I wasn't aware of all these things here, especially like the financial stability in here and all the big buildings, these institutions they have, these insurance companies they had, all these things, beautiful, beautiful buildings and all, beautiful restaurants, everything. I mean, this is like first-class stuff they had. So I do want to share some of that with you. I might just read some of the things that's in here, and next week, and I wish you could actually see this, but this brother, he actually sells this catalog, and I think it's like $10 for the whole catalog, and but it's very rewarding. Believe me, just looking at this, I mean, just motivates you to want to do something,
Yeah, Brother Rashad.
Yeah.
Brother Rashad, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, we're getting close to that time. We go a little over, but that's all right, brother. But listen, next week, I just want to let the family know, all right, that starting next week, okay, we'll have more time so Brother Rashad can come to you just a little later before we have the fasting show, which starts the first Saturday along with Sister Nadia. So every Saturday we'll have an 8:30 show for your family, all right, with the new sister, Sharon Clements, coming on. But we got one more week where we go extend it. So, Brother Rashad, we'll be honored to have you on, brother, next week after Brother Israel comes on from Chicago next week, brother. So on that note, brother, final thought, Brother Rashad, because Sister Nadia coming on in about another 10 minutes.
Again, I just want to thank Sister D for her presentation. I want to thank the listening audience for tuning in. I hope everybody got something out of that video. I think that was very rewarding. And hopefully we'll be on next week, God willing, and keep moving on. So I want to thank you again, Brother Forrest, for allowing me this time. And I want to thank Professor Williams also for all the good music. And I'm looking forward to hear some more.
Yes, sir. Well, on that note, we won't end the show with any music. Family wants you to hang up. And Mr. Williams, hit me on what you know what you got. Hit me on, Mr. Williams.
We also have Seeking Peace with Aaron at 1 o'clock on next Sunday, October the 1st.
Right. We'll announce that all week, sister. We appreciate that. We'll give you more details, family. Tune in. Mr. Williams, hit me.
Do you need the tune or the part?
No. There's no music. There's no more music. We're going to end this show, brother.
Recording.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.